Hello and welcome back to the Bottom Bins. Another weekend of exciting Premier League football to talk about. Strange weekend, no presenters on Match of the Day. Very strange just to watch 20 minutes of highlights running through. So keep an eye out for the Bottom Bins Extra this week. We're going to be doing a special episode covering... well, I'll not say too much about it. I'll not say too much about it till we actually record it. But yeah, keep an eye out for that. But as usual, we're just going to crack on with our Premier League coverage here today. Got a couple of nice messages from people saying that they preferred last week's format of podcast. So we're going to stick with that for the next wee while and see how we get on. Like I said last week, just trying to get everybody here an equal voice and get to speak their opinions rather than question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. So I'm going to cut to the first game of the game week, lads. We were very stunned when Manchester United were decimated by Liverpool, but Liverpool looked more like Liverpool of this season again, suffering a 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth. So I think really just going to open it up, guys. What did you make of the game, and are we looking at typical Liverpool then?
Well, I kind of said on the podcast last week I expected a drop from Liverpool's performance, and I think I predicted a draw, but I didn't expect them to be this bad. The first 20 minutes they were good, but from then on they were really poor. And even Klopp came out after and said they kind of deserved to lose the game because they just couldn't get up for it. He said something like he didn't like the way Bournemouth sat back, but sure, that's what you're going to expect against a team near the bottom. Yeah. Were they not prepared for that? Yeah. That's the question. You know, players like Salah never touched the ball.
Why criticise the way another team sets up? Like it's strange, you know. Yeah. You have to beat what's put in front of you. Why criticise somebody else's tactics? Why not look at your own tactics if that's the case? Like,
but like Bournemouth were good actually. To be fair to them, Billing in midfield's good, and Solanke's a good player. Like even against Arsenal, I thought I was really impressed. They've that new guy, Otara or something, new signing, bit of speed.
He's got 8 assists this season.
Yeah, he's
doing really well.
He's doing well. Like and they kept a clean sheet in that boy in centre back.
Sanasy. Yeah,
he's a good player.
He is a good player.
And Bournemouth look a bit better at the back. But Liverpool were brutal. Like, you know, boys like Gakpo, Nunez, Salah didn't get much touches of the ball. They played so poorly. Arnold again caught out for the goal.
Yep.
Van Dijk stepped up. He got caught out too. Konate, centre back, was poor. It was just more of what had happened to Liverpool prior. You know, they played well against United. They got the win 7-0, but as I said last week as well, it's only 3 points.
Yeah.
And then they've just thrown away all that momentum, and now they have 3 brutal, hard games coming up. They play City, Chelsea and Arsenal. So it's going to be very tough. And the top 4 is kind of out of their hands again. And I don't know what you boys thought about the game, but
it shows how much one game actually affects this league this year. Like I seen something on Sky Sports yesterday. There's 5 points between the bottom 9 places in the Premier League. Like the relegation battle is mad this year.
Crazy.
But yeah, look, Bournemouth in the past 4, I would say their past 4 games, they've really started to improve their performances.
Definitely.
Look, they only have got 4 points from their last 4 games, but their performances have been there 100%. Like they've played Arsenal, City, and now Liverpool in their last 3 games, and realistically, the only one that they didn't look like they had a foot in the whole game was against Liverpool, and that was the game that they ended up winning.
Yeah.
But they put up a good fight against Arsenal.
Probably should have come away with something out of that game.
Probably should have came away with something in that game. Look, City, they kind of destroyed them, and it wasn't until the last 10-15 minutes where Bournemouth started to put up a fight, but it showed what they were capable of. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like they could have had, what was it, 4-1? It genuinely could have been 4-3 in them last 10 minutes. Bournemouth had that many chances. So there's positive to take there for, what do you call him, Gary O'Neill?
Gary O'Neill.
There's positive to take for him, especially going into the last wee stretch of the season. They're still in the relegation zone on 24 points, but there's 4 teams on 24 points. So a game, they're playing, I think they've got 2 games this week. They need to make the most of them, especially in the run of form that they're in. But it was typical Liverpool to go and beat us 7-0 and then lose to Bournemouth. As we said, whenever we were discussing United and Liverpool, form goes out the window.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
But even I think if you look at Liverpool from last week and then look at them from this week, tactically Klopp had them set up really, really well against United. They sort of nulled, survived that initial wave of pressure from United, and you could probably, go and get your result, and that's exactly what they did. Tactics suited the team. My biggest criticism of Liverpool this year is I can't understand why they're still playing a high line, because their midfield doesn't have the capability of defending sitting in front of the back four and protecting them, and that back four is not quick enough to get back and play a high line and recover these recovery runs anymore. They can't do it. So to me personally, I know it's a bit rich coming from a Man United fan, but my biggest criticism will be on Klopp. I can't understand some of the tactics this year. Tactically, they're not fit to play in a high line, and they're still doing it week in, week out. It baffles me, makes no sense to me whatsoever. And I don't know why more Liverpool fans aren't more annoyed at their manager at this stage, to be honest. But I agree with Connor wholeheartedly. The front three wasn't good enough on the day. Never showed. And that penalty from Salah. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Do you know what though? If he had scored the penalty, Liverpool could have won like 5-1.
Oh, they could have.
They're a momentum team. Yeah. And when they don't have the momentum in their favour, it's going to be very, very hard for Liverpool, especially with their current squad, to go and win a game based on just their players' quality.
Especially
because their players' quality isn't there for Liverpool.
Especially away from home. You need that. At home, they're very good because they got the atmosphere. Even that United game, the atmosphere was incredible. But they haven't got that, and as you said, they needed that goal. I think they definitely would have won if they scored that penalty.
100%.
But look, if it's a day like was the day for Liverpool where it just seems that everything was going wrong for you. If you get a chance like that, a golden gifted opportunity, Salah from the penalty spot, you put your house on him, and he doesn't even hit the target. Not only is it just the chance of a goal gone, it's the whole deflation from the team, because that just comes in the back of the head and players go, right, it's just not our day. It's just not happening the way, you see it yourself. Even anytime you're watching your own team and you miss a big chance, your head just goes, that's it, well, it's just not going to be our day.
Not happening.
You sometimes just go make a cup of tea because you just know that's what's going to happen, and as soon as that happened, Liverpool players just knew it wasn't going to be their day. And even if they got chances later on, which it didn't really create, they weren't even going to take them. The heads just dropped off that mess.
Absolutely, and they don't. It's not even as if he can look at the bench and can bring quality off the bench, like the same way that we talk about City being able to turn to the bench and it can change a game. Like Liverpool just don't have that at the minute. They just don't have players on the bench that are going to come in and grab the game by the scruff and carry them through over the line. They just don't have it at the minute.
These are the subs they made at the weekend. They brought Jota on at half time. Decent player, brought on for Harvey Elliott. But Jota's out of form at the minute.
Personally, I don't rate him.
He hasn't been great this season though. He's only back from long-term injury. They brought James Milner on, who has just been. He's not going to change the game.
And right back.
They brought Jordan Henderson on for Fabinho, a slow midfielder for a slow midfielder. They brought Bobby Firmino on for Nunez. Firmino has got them goals. So, pretty much a like-for-like substitution there in terms of an attacker for an attacker. Both are kind of as average as they are this season so far. And they brought by Carvalho on with 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, but that's why I would agree with you to the extent of more why I think Liverpool fans should be calling out Klopp a wee bit, Richie. We seen United get absolutely thumped 7-0 by Liverpool, and look. In my opinion, don't get me wrong, Liverpool were miles better than United, but it wasn't the best that Liverpool could have played. They had 7 shots, 7 on target, and they scored 7 goals. You know what I mean? Liverpool, if they had been playing the way Liverpool have played in the last couple of years, it could have been double figures, realistically. But because that wasn't Liverpool's best performance, even though the scoreline would say different. Do you know what I mean?
They're very clinical. Yes. They didn't create an awful lot.
Yeah, and they did have a lot of luck in that game as well, but look, we got beat 7-0 and we went and played Betis. And Eric Ten Hag named the exact same 11 because he still thinks that was his best 11. And he wanted to go and win the game against Betis in the first leg. Klopp made changes to a team that won 7-0 against fucking Manchester United. Where's the sense in that?
And he had a week's rest.
A week's rest?
And I know they're playing Real Madrid, but that's the late Wednesday night fixture and they're playing the Saturday morning fixture.
Yeah.
There was no excuse for resting players. There was such a long amount of time.
It doesn't make sense. Just in that aspect, especially when you were talking about the midfielder and the substitutions that they did bring on. I know this young fella, Bacecic, is meant to be a brilliant player. And Liverpool fans are ramping and raving about him because he's given a bit of hope in midfield this year. But, Henderson played alright against United. Their midfield against United played well enough to stop Casemiro playing well and to stop Bruno Fernandes playing well. That should stay enough that they deserve to be starting against Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium. Yeah. So I don't understand that decision. And look, all these decisions are costing Liverpool points. And we even said last week when we seen them win 7-0 that top 4 they're probably favourites for it now. But with Newcastle then winning against Wolves, it puts it all into perspective a bit again. as we said last week about the relegations, there's no definitive statements that can really be made anymore
There-
about
there-
this
no,
league.
you can't. Like, we can't. But at the same time, I do think out of those 3 teams that are competing for the top 4, my money would be on Spurs. I just think they have enough quality to get them through.
Especially with the fixtures that's left for the teams
Exactly.
that are competing for top 4.
It's just Spurs. You don't know what you're going to get.
But that's
week
it.
In, week out. Like,
But I think even if
it's the same with
Spurs,
everybody at the minute.
I think even if Spurs kept going the way they were going, win, lose, win, lose, win,
Probably
lose,
get
win,
in,
lose,
yeah.
I still think they would get in.
They've done enough so far to open up the
Yeah,
gap to allow them to do that.
I do.
Liverpool and Newcastle aren't going to go win.
No, I
I
can't see it.
genuinely think if Brighton had a beat Leeds that they would have got top 4.
Yeah, Brighton's been throwing away silly points as well.
Really
Yeah.
have.
Especially
Really have.
recently, they've been really throwing away silly
Well,
points.
Yeah.
Perfect segue then into your next game. Yeah, we'll talk about Brighton and Leeds. Obviously finishing 2-2 at Ellen Road. Owen, we were chatting about this earlier. This was one of Owen's contenders for the boob of the week. Jack Harrison then managing to take his boob status away with a wonder
He
goal.
put an absolute screamer in, so
You got a boob job.
he got some production surgery there. Good man, Jack. Look, it was actually a good enough wee game to watch.
It was a very good game of football. Very good game of football.
Brighton, I was just throwing away silly points. Brighton had the chances to win this game.
Yeah, fully.
Like Alexis McAllister, he scored a goal, played well. He had a really good chance earlier on.
When Matoma pulled it back.
caught it back
Yeah,
to him,
oh
and
my
he just got the
God.
shot all
As
wrong.
fuming, he's my captain player of the week.
Matoma's supposed to be my captain. I forgot to hit bloody confirmed. I'm still fuming over it. Look, we've talked about Brighton. Like, we've waxed lyrical about Brighton, and I don't want us to take away anything that Brighton's done because they've had a fantastic season. But just recently, the drew with Leeds, they hammered West Ham. That was a good result for them.
Beat by Fulham.
Beat by Fulham, drew with Palace, beat Bournemouth 1-0, drew with Leicester. Like, there's such many stupid results that if they had turned in the wins, would be really cruising towards the top 4
Yeah,
place.
definitely.
Like,
Definitely.
they could over just even the last 2 months, Brighton should have at least another 9 points
100%.
on the board. Like,
Especially
and-
against them teams
and they don't,
this season.
Yeah, and that's the annoying thing about Brighton because they are playing great football. And I know it's a mad thing to say Brighton in the Champions League, whatever, but I'd love to see it with the football they're playing
unreal,
and
yeah.
just the storyline of it. But they're throwing away their chance.
Yeah.
They're kind of like they're going to get European football most likely. They're definitely going to get Conference League. I'd be shocked if they're not going to collapse because of some great players, but they're going to lose these players.
Yeah.
The likes of McAllister, the likes of Casado, Matoma, these guys are going to be in the shop window now. And if they had been able to get that Champions League football, that is a massive lure to turn around and go to McAllister, Matoma, and all these guys. Give us one more year. We've got your Champions League football.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can do in Europe.
100%. Look, I agree with you, but I don't think a lot of these players are actually going to leave in the
No,
summer.
neither do I. Even though Brighton are a selling club,
Yeah, I think, right, fair enough, Caicedo will go.
I think McAllister will go too.
I
think
know.
McAllister,
No, I
yeah.
don't. I don't think McAllister's going to
I
go.
think there's more chance of McAllister than Casado. Casado just signed a new contract to
Yeah,
2027.
Yeah, but the club have already said that contract is literally just
For the
so,
release
so
clause.
they can get a release clause for him. That's all that contract
Like,
was for.
look,
Even still though, 2027, signing a contract. Like, realistically, if nobody comes in and pays that release clause or nobody finds an agreement with Brighton, Caicedo's there till 2027 whether he likes it or not.
Well, yeah, if he doesn't like it or not, but to be fair, somebody will buy Caicedo.
No,
in the
I know
summer,
that, I know that.
There's too many clubs interested in him, I think, for that release clause not to be paid. I think, look, if McAllister was looking to leave Brighton, like, he was asked after the World Cup, and he was, like, we talked about it on this podcast, he was very Brighton-centric, very Brighton positive. I think he'll stay. Matoma will definitely stay, because he's only, like, realistically...
He's only broke onto the scene.
He has. And by the time the season's over, I've seen they're already in contract talks with him now at the minute. He's going to get a huge pay raise and they want a longer term contract. He'll be at Brighton, I'd say, past this summer. Then, realistically, what other sellable assets are you looking at with Brighton? I don't think they'll look to sell. Maybe Lamptey, I'd say, could be moved on.
Cash in on Lamptey.
Cash in on him now.
Yeah.
Because he's not
Hasn't worked
breaking...
out since he broke through. It hasn't worked out.
He's not broken back into the team.
But they'd still get that decent bit of money for
Look,
him. Like,
I'd say they'd still get 20 million for him. 15 to 20 million.
Perhaps, but like this is a player that was meant to be going to Sporting on deadline day on loan
Yeah.
I know, but
with a £10 million buy option.
Of course they will. Like,
I'd be more worried about the manager leaving. I think he'll go in the summer.
Yeah,
Sorry,
he could,
he'll
lad.
go in the
that is an
summer.
issue, sir. But like the likes of Lamptey is the potential is clearly there. So and as we know, we've banged on and on about it. He is English. That does carry
But
a
it
bit
does,
of
it does.
money in it. Like,
And he's obviously a good player. Like when he first came through at Brighton, everybody was looking at him. United were looking at him when we were looking at Wan-Bissaka.
yeah.
We were talking about like 40 million for this player, but yeah, look, they are a selling club.
how much was Wan-Bissaka?
50.
50 million.
Yeah.
The three options that United were looking at, like English options, was young fella from Norwich, Max Aarons, Lamptey and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And to be honest, I'm pretty happy with Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
I mean, out of those three,
Out of
that's
those
what
three,
you got the best. Like,
Yeah.
But look, Brighton are a team, like, what sets Brighton apart for me in this top four race is the reaction that they had whenever Alexis McAllister did win the World Cup. When he came back in, you wanted, I'm sure you've all seen like the squad gather around him and they had like a big party for him. Like, that squad mentality is there at that club, and that's why I do understand what you're saying, Richie, that these players might stay at Brighton, especially if they get European football. Why not get a taste of European football before moving somewhere else, possibly moving to a different country to play their football?
Yeah, definitely.
So, as Owen said, these results against Leeds, they're throwing points away. They,
Definitely.
especially when they were 2-1 up. They should not have been losing that game when they were
Welbeck's
2-1
miss
up.
was brutal.
Welbeck's
yeah,
miss
but-
was
and
brutal.
he done all the hard work. Welbeck, he
Yeah.
done really well to get in position and then just skated.
And that's part of the problem with Brighton, because their quality off the bench and stuff is the likes of Danny Welbeck, who look is a prime proven striker in that. But if you're looking to be challenging for top four for Europa League places, you need Europa League quality strikers.
Yeah, definitely.
You
And
need
even-
Champions League quality strikers
Yeah.
on the bench and on the pitch.
Look, their squad
To
depth.
provide that for you.
Their squad depth's not the same as other clubs in the Premier League, and
Yeah.
look, that's just where they're at.
So
you
they
know,
must-
it's not their fault. You know,
They haven't built a squad to challenge for European football.
No,
really,
they
they've
haven't.
built a squad
To stay in the Premier League, realistically. Get mid-table.
Get mid-table.
Yeah.
So like, this is not come as a surprise to them because obviously they believe they can do it. But this isn't what their squad's designed to do and challenge for European places.
No,
So
no.
they are seriously punching, and they've had a great season so far. And it's a testament to how good their season that we're saying. A draw against Leeds is a bad result for them because they're throwing away Champions League football. Like, if you had said that at the start of the season, like, how crazy would you have looked in a statement like that?
I know.
I do hope that Brighton are ruthless, though. Like,
Yeah.
they just signed Adam Lallana onto another contract for another year. And look, I know Adam Lallana's done it week in, week out in the Premier League for years and years. He's been a stable player, Premier League player. But he's not the type of player who's going to get you to the Champions League. And I just hope they're not too nice with their players such as Danny Welbeck and stuff who have done a job for them since they've came to the club. I hope they're not just going to give these players contracts for the sake of being nice to them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think they need to be ruthless.
The manager wanted to keep him though, so he must be like a good team
No,
player. if you know
I
what mean.
understand
Yeah.
that. I understand that, but I just mean that caliber of player.
Yeah,
I
they
hope
need to
they're not
improve
going.
on that, yeah.
I just hope they don't
100%.
offer them new contracts for the absolute
But
sake of it.
them and Arsenal probably playing the best football in the Premier League at the minute.
Yeah.
Like, they are so good to watch, but it's just killer mistakes. And even the goal, they switched off from a corner. Arsenal sticks in the top corner. They were unlucky with the first goal. But Brighton are playing so well, and as you said, if they could have kept picking up them points, they definitely would have got. I think they would have got fourth, but I just think they keep slipping up so much, and they did the same under Potter. They just couldn't score goals. They create chances, but they can't score goals, and you're not going to get top four with that. But hopefully they do get European football.
Yeah, well, in terms of the other side of this game, it's a big point for Leeds. It's a
Massive.
point
Yeah, it
game
is.
for Leeds in a very, very tight relegation battle. Like, they've had poor results recently as well. Like, obviously being beat by everything was really bad for them. They're away to Wolves now in their next fixture. That's massive for Leeds. That is a massive game.
It's
for
always
them.
tough to go to Molyneux as well.
Very
Any
tough-
club.
Very tough, especially a 6-pointer like this. Like, are they in the relegation zone, or they're in the relegation
Not
zone?
Yeah.
Or just out of it.
Yeah.
They're one of that gagging on 24 points.
Yeah.
So, like, look at it, one result changes everything in the Premier League this season, but that's a massive point for Leeds. I still don't think they'll push on. I still think they're one of the. They're all in danger down there, but I think they're one of the ones that are in the highest danger.
Yeah.
Even Wolves are. Wolves are only in
Yeah.
27 points.
That's what I was going to say. It's so hard to get out of there because Wolves look like they got out a wee bit, and
Yeah.
now they're straight
They
back
haven't,
in.
yeah.
And Palace are in there. It's just
It's
Crazy.
literally like all these teams. Like, you feel like you're watching the same side every week.
Yeah, you do.
But it's these games that do matter. These games where they are playing against one
Against each
another.
other.
These are the ones that are important. Like, these are the ones you can't afford
No,
to slip
please.
up in.
That's the one that gives you daylight.
Exactly. You need to be switched on from the first whistle, and you treat it like a cup final. Like, and that's what these games are between these sides. They're cup finals from here to the end of the season. And like, looking at Leeds, yeah, do you know what? It is a good result to get a point. But at the same time, I'd say, especially that last sort of 20 minutes of the game, I'd say they're annoyed that they're not coming out of that game 3-2 winners, because Webster went off injured. I actually thought he was probably Brighton's best defender on the day. And when he come out of the game, then I sort of thought Leeds could probably push on from here. That last 20 minutes, Leeds were completely overwhelming. Brighton looked like the much better side, and I would say that Leeds would come out of that game thinking that really could be a big missed opportunity there.
They brought Rodrigo on as well. He's a good player.
Good to see him back.
He needs to come back because he's got like 10 goals in the Premier League or something for them.
Start of the league, he was on.
Yeah, he's just been injured a lot. So if he can come back and Bamford's back playing, he scored. Obviously a bit of luck. Well, took a deflection, but it was a good goal. But but still Bamford scoring, that's a big plus for them as well. Like they need.
You're a dick to him.
It took a massive deflection to be fair. Like it did. It did take a deflection. Sorry.
We'll move on.
Yeah, sorry. All right, I'm just going to move it on then to the top of the table. Just going to move it on to Fulham. At home to Arsenal. Ended up getting beat 3-0. Arsenal had the job wrapped up in the first 46 minutes of the game. Personally, I was quite surprised. I thought Fulham would put up more of a fight. I was shocked at how easy Arsenal made it look. Last week I criticised them big time. I said the performances were not matching the scorelines and not matching the results. Well, they went out, as we keep saying on this podcast, you may hope that we call your team shit because, or say that they're underperforming or that a certain player's not playing well, because you can bet your ass the minute we say it, they go out that weekend and completely disprove whatever it is that you've just said. So thanks very much, Mikel Arteta. Thank you very much, Arsenal. You've made me look a dick. But look, yeah, like I said, for the first 46 minutes, Arsenal were absolutely on fire. Big positive for them is that Gabriel Jesus is back, come off the bench. Had a decent cameo, I have to say. Nice couple of touches. I think he'll be annoyed that he wasn't amongst the goals as such. But yeah, look, Arsenal played some lovely football, and I think we have to talk about the record that Leandro Trossard broke. He's the only player to have 3 assists in one half at an away ground in a Premier League ever. It's massive. He was one of those signings in January that was, he's not Mudryk. They didn't get Mudryk. They had to settle for Trossard. Well, if you're settling for a player as good as Trossard, I know who did better out of that deal.
Yeah.
And Chelsea didn't get the better player.
Yeah. No. Well, look,
Arsenal got the better player.
We talked about that extensively when we were doing our transfer roundups on the bottom bins. Like, make sure and check them out, by the way. But look, the one thing we were talking about with Trossard coming into Arsenal, because we never ever doubted his quality. We knew he was an unbelievable player, and this season he was brilliant for Brighton. The only thing we doubted was that attitude problem that he might have had, because that was what De Zerbi was saying, and all the stuff that was coming out in the press was that Trossard was the imp in the camp and stuff like this here and whatever. But look, he's came in for that Arsenal team at a crucial time, by the way, because he started coming into the first 11 after Eddie Nketiah got injured, and he was playing through the middle in that false 9 role, and he was always having the great performances, just wasn't getting the goals and the assists, but now he is. Yeah. And look, Gabriel Jesus might be back, but he's not guaranteed to start straight away.
No, definitely not.
Like, Leandro Trossard is playing unreal, Saka's playing unreal, and Martinelli he's kicked it up a notch in the last few weeks. And as you said, Richie, like, I did not expect it to be so easy for Arsenal in this game. I fully expected Fulham to push them to the test, especially at Craven Cottage. Like, with Mitrovic and all there, like, they had a full team. But we seen it towards the end of that game as well, like we seen in the United and Liverpool game. Andreas Pereira flying himself into tackles that he just didn't need to do and stuff like that there. Like, they lost their heads, Fulham. And look, going to the league leaders at any stage of the season is always going to be tough. Or playing the league leaders, sorry, not going to them, but playing the league leaders is always going to be tough. But Arsenal really showed that they might actually have the quality to go on and win the whole damn thing. I think one thing, Oren, and if you haven't already, please check out Oren's article on Jai Polina on the Bottom Bins WordPress. You pointed it out in that article. Fulham really missed the influence of Polina, and when he's not on the pitch, they don't look in any way defensively inclined. I think if Paulina's on the pitch, okay, maybe Arsenal still go on and win the game, but it's definitely a tougher game for them,
Your boy wasn't playing either, the centre-back, Diop.
He's
been very good this season. I thought he was a big miss too.
It shows that Fulham have kind of found their best 11, and like we've just said about Brighton, they don't necessarily have the squad depth because Fulham are competing for European places this season too.
They're overachieving, like
Yeah,
big time.
fully
That
overachieving,
squad,
but they don't have that squad depth and
Yeah.
that killer instinct.
No,
Like
no, definitely
clubs,
not.
like even Newcastle this season do.
And look, don't get me wrong, they made some great acquisitions in January.
Yeah.
You know, I have to say, even though Fulham didn't play great, I was impressed with Lukic. Every time he's come into the side this year, he looks like a very competent midfielder. And they picked this guy up for $8 million.
He's not afraid in the ball,
No, he's not.
which is what you need in a midfielder.
I mean, the guy played at the World Cup. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you don't play it for your. Yes, okay, fair enough. Serbia's maybe not the sexiest names in terms of national teams, but
So, decent outfit, like.
they're a good outfit, you know. And he's very comfortable, and I think he could be one to watch for the future. He's still a young guy, and it just seems as though Fulham's transfer policy, especially from that big spending spree that they had the last time they were in the Premier League.
John
yeah.
McHale, Serie A, you know?
Yeah, like it seems as though now that they've got it right. The recruitment is suiting the system of football that they want to play. But like I said, Jed, look, they definitely miss Joe Pellegrini at the minute, and I'd say they can't wait to have him back
Look,
inside that starting 11.
It can't be overlooked how well Arsenal have reacted to a string of pretty bad results. Like obviously they had that week or a week and a half where they got beat by Everton, they drew with Brentford and got beat by City.
Yep.
Like that was prime position for Arsenal to completely crumble. But now they've put five wins in the bounce in the Premier League since then.
Yep.
And I think Arteta and the entire team deserves massive credit for having the mentality to do that.
Yep.
And I think Martinelli has hit serious form. I'm not comparing the two players here before you all jump on me.
See if you mention Marcus Rashford.
I
here,
know
lad.
exactly where you're
Yeah,
going
yeah,
because
no.
you definitely seen the Sport Bible post that was put up like yesterday
Exactly,
or the
yeah,
day
yeah,
before,
and that's what he's
and now
going
you're
with.
like, oh, I'm going to take that onto the podcast.
No, all I
Oh,
was
do you want to hear what he said? And I'm sorry, Owen, but do you want to hear what he said to me yesterday in the car? He goes, "Much of the day had no commentary, so I don't know what to say on the podcast tomorrow."
Wow.
well, that was just,
Gary Lineker does your job for you, does he, mate?
Danny Murphy.
I was actually going to compliment Marcus Rashford before.
You were, aye.
What I was going to say is, I'm not saying Martinelli's a better player than Rashford because he's not, but Rashford has had a fantastic season, as you would agree, and he scored 14 goals in the Premier League. Martinelli's only scored 2 less, which is a testament to how well Martinelli's been playing.
Yeah,
he's not
he's
on
been good.
Rashford's level, but he's having a great season. That's all I was going to say before you all went.
No, look,
all blur witch
that's
on me.
fair enough. I thought you were going to come in hot. I thought you were going to start taking the piss out of Rashford, and I was not for having it. Simple as that. I was
Like,
going to have to put my foot down.
Party coming back as well. He obviously played last week and played well, but he's big for them, and Odegaard's goal was
Yeah.
very good as well.
Yeah.
So
Look, Odegaard, every week this season, you watch Odegaard, he is just very classy. Just a really, really good midfielder. And
he got best player there at the London
Aye, at those
Awards.
London
but
Awards
why,
last
why,
night.
Aye,
why
but
is there
that's
awards
very
at the
early,
start of the
yeah.
season?
It's only
very
for
early.
London clubs.
But it's still early. It's March time. It's kind of
But it's I know that there, but it was like Player of the Year and stuff. But it's only for London clubs, so I'm not
Yeah.
taking any notice
No.
to any of them awards.
to be fair. He's still been this season probably top 3 player in the Premier League.
to me, I
It's
think
been very
if
good.
Arsenal win the league,
He'll be player of the year.
I think
Yeah.
he has
I
to
think
be
he has
player
to
of the
be
year.
player.
And don't get me wrong, like I love Saka. I keep saying it every week. You know, if there was one player from Arsenal I could have at United, it would be Saka in the morning,
Definitely.
100%. But there's just something about Odegaard. You just watch him, and he's just different. Like he is different. He's as close to Kevin De Bruyne as you can get without being Kevin De Bruyne.
He plays the game at like half speed, like it's like everybody else is on half speed around him.
Yeah.
He just reads it so well.
Yeah.
and he's just so calm and composed in the ball.
Even his goal, like he was so calm for it.
Oh,
like,
just
Walking
strokes it
around
in.
nice.
Just strokes it in.
Yeah.
Like he's.
But for
great
Fulham as
footballer.
well, I thought I was disappointed as well. See the second goal especially. You
Yeah.
Robinson ducking for the header. There was no intensity in that game.
No.
I don't know. The first 30 minutes they were dreadful. I know again, like the way Bournemouth done it against City, the last 20, I think they were good. Mitrovic at the crossbar and
Yeah.
stuff was too little, too late. And even
Yeah.
Silva said after the game, he was like, the first half was just not good enough. We just didn't come out of the blocks.
Yeah.
And maybe that is because they're missing some top players. I don't think Willian played either.
No, he didn't.
So like he's been playing well this season. So they were missing a few, but still, full credit to Arsenal because we did give them a bit of stick last week. We were saying they weren't playing well, which they weren't. But if they can pick this form up, they're going to win the league.
Yeah.
But they've got 11 games, so it's going to be tough to keep this form up. But they've got Jesus coming back. Trossard playing well, Martinelli playing well, Saka. Like it's
It's
looking
scary.
good.
Look, they have some.
Yeah.
They've good attacking talent there.
Looking good.
Definitely do. All right, boys. I'm going to move it on then to another side that we have given a lot of stick to, but they've now 2 wins on the bounce. One midweek against Borussia Dortmund. Chelsea managing to get a 3-1 victory away to Leicester. So yeah, anybody want to jump in on that one?
3-1's a bit flattering to Chelsea, to be honest with you. Leicester had some serious chances. I think it was Harvey Barnes hit one where he just didn't.
No, Dewsbury Hall's
Dewsbury
one.
Hall
Yeah.
just didn't catch the ball at all.
Like 6 yards out, open net.
They hit the crossbar. Kappa was like flapping the crosses anytime they came near him.
Yeah.
Look at Kovac's goal to kill the game was an outrageous finish, like absolutely outstanding. But Chelsea didn't look great. Obviously, they got the win, and that's what the job was there. Like, it's all well and good being fantastic until the final shot. Look at there's 2 wins in the bounce, as you say, for Chelsea. Had a massive win during the week in the Champions League. Even though all the controversy around the penalty and stuff and the retaking of it, which obviously is the rules of the game. I don't agree with it, but we're not going to get into that. Potter, as we say every week, has kind of kicked the can down the road a wee bit, in my opinion. Still don't think he's the right man for the job. I still feel this is papering over the cracks, and they're still using thin paper, as I said last week, in a bit more aggressive manner.
Yeah, sorry, can we address that first of all? My man was on serious smoke last week. Who hurt you, lad?
No, we were listening to it way down the road the other day, and I was like, what in God's name was wrong with me? I was furious about everything. Stuff I don't really care about. I was going ham on it. No, look, it was a good one. It's a result Chelsea desperately needed.
He was fucking all round.
Things come back in the
He was
team
like
too.
he was in a brothel or something.
Your boy Kovacic has come into the team as well. He's been good.
Aye, Kovacic.
Yeah. What about Havertz's goal? Even I have to give him a bit of credit. It was a nice finish.
Big Kai Havertz, man.
Yeah, Kai Havertz.
Yeah, but
I still don't rate, but it's a good finish.
But I think Danny Ward was brutal.
Oh,
The first goal especially.
Awful.
And Havertz's goal.
Awful.
The first goal he left the Red Sea open in his near post. He just decided, Chilwell's going to shoot here. I suppose he'll dive. I'll do it now. Ball's already in that. And for Havertz's goal, he was just caught in no man's land.
Yeah.
He came, he went back, he came again. He was doing bloody hokey pokey.
What about
I wish we had camera. I honestly wish we videoed.
Owen is doing the hokey
Yeah, it's not
cokey here.
Owen, what about Kappa for Chelsea or Leicester's goal? What do you think of that?
Kappa wasn't great either. He just happened to be the one who was lucky enough that the other team couldn't score. He was pretty poor all around. It was 2 poor goalkeeping performances, and Chelsea were lucky enough that they managed to finish the chances that the goalkeeper gave them.
Look, you're a goalkeeper, obviously, Owen, and this is something I do want to put to you. I know I said I wouldn't ask questions, but this is genuinely something I want to get your opinion on. So, Kepa was obviously the Chelsea goalkeeper, paid a lot of money for him, but then he was kicked out of the side, replaced with Adamord Mendy. Now, he's taken Mendy's place. Do you think Chelsea need to sign a goalkeeper in the summer? Do you think Kepa's good enough to keep playing at this level?
Tight one, because he is a good goalkeeper. He has shown it that he has the capability to make great saves, and he's pretty decent with his feet. He's calm enough, but he's just prone to stupidity. And I think that's just kind of the personality he has. That he likes to take risks, and sometimes they don't pay out, pay off, and sometimes they do pay off. Look, the 2 great goalkeepers, like Edward Mendy was in the FIFA Pro 11 like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
best goalkeeper in the world, and now he's lost a spot.
He's injured though. He's injured, like.
Yeah, but he wasn't injured and he was dropped as well. Yeah. It was even before he was
it
injured.
was poor performances.
Yeah,
that got him dropped.
He's not even on the bench. I was surprised that. Like, I thought it was just a short-term injury, but he's been out for
a long time.
He probably would have got back in because Kepa's been okay, but as you said, like sometimes he just switches off.
Yeah,
and he just gives in like the. I think he should have saved that shot from Daga. To be honest, I think he just switched off. He just didn't think he'd shoot from there. You know, a bit like Ward with the first goal. They just weren't alert.
The difference between, like, I don't think he was great, but that was still a good finish from Daka more than from Chilwell's goal. Like, I'd put a lot more blame on Ward for Chilwell's than I would on Kappa for Daka's goal.
For that goal,
my concern more of Kappa was when he was coming for crosses, he was just flapping air, and like a better team would have finished the chances they presented.
Definitely.
Back to should Chelsea bring the goalkeeper? Possibly, but who's out there that they're going to have to spend big money on Sunday? Like, David Raya is obviously the one that's going to come up, but obviously David Raya's United's talking about Raya. There's other clubs talking about Raya, so it's going to have to be turned into a big bidding war.
Definitely.
And they're going to have to get rid of at least one of Kepa and Mendy, because if you're bringing in another goalkeeper, why are you going to have 3 massively paid goalkeepers on the payroll when you're only going to you can only use one of them in a match?
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, look, there is something that I want to talk to you about in general. Just so I had done an article there this week on the Bottom Bins pod, just looking at VAR and some of its biggest mistakes this season. Again, within this Chelsea and Leicester game. We've seen a challenge made upon a player. You're looking at it and you're thinking, how has this guy stayed on the pitch? Then you look at the Man United game, Casemiro sent off for, look, something that I understand was a red card, but I'm just, we're consistently now every week seeing maybe the same thing in one game and another game, but there being a completely different outcome in each game. Yeah. So Casemiro receives a red card for his challenge. Leicester player receives no card.
The only thing that's consistent is the VAR inconsistencies.
See, yes, exactly. It's look. Give me your take on it, then, lads. What are we saying? Did you feel like that challenge was worthy of a card then?
Which one, the Leicester game?
In the Leicester game.
Yeah, that was a red card. The funny thing is, the referee that was on the pitch for that game then was the VAR guy who said Anthony Taylor send off Casemiro. It's just like, where's the consistency?
Where is the consistency?
I thought Casemiro's was actually unlucky, but I think your boys, was it Pereira, was it?
I think it was Pereira.
There was a few tackles in that game that were really tough, but there's no consistency with VAR.
And again then, boys, just talking about those controversial VAR decisions and moving on then to Old Trafford. Man United drawing 0-0 with Southampton. In the first 20 minutes, we've seen the red card of Casemiro. It's his second red card in 3 Premier League games now. So, look, Connor, obviously you thought that one against Leicester was a red card. So, look, what are we saying about Casemiro's one, lads?
I thought it was unlucky. They were saying as well, like, his leg wasn't actually straight. He went for the ball, genuinely went for the ball. He kind of hits his foot off it, and then it goes high. I know the studs were up, but he didn't go straight in with the tackle. It was kind of like bent leg.
Aye.
His leg was bent. I thought it was very unlucky, and I didn't think it was worth VAR changing. But as I said with your boy, he was refereeing the game the day before, no red cards, and then he must have thought, I'm going to have to send him off because he made so much mistakes yesterday. And like even Casemiro's reaction, like he was just gutted. Like he didn't mean to hurt the player.
Sure, the two of them got straight up and hugged each other straight away after it.
And it ruined the game as well for United. It was actually a good 0-0 to be fair.
As far as 0-0, that was cool.
Yeah,
it was a great
game. It was a good game, but for United, I think United definitely would have won that game.
If they had 11
No. Yeah, really Southampton didn't really kick on. I was a bit disappointed in Southampton because I was like, you thought they would have just, took the game on, and their only chances were like set pieces. I know Walcott missed a 1-on-1, but that's Walcott, isn't it? Like you just can't finish. But
in their last 4 games, they have 7 points with that new manager. In their last 4 games, which is the same as they had in their previous 12 games before that. And like this game, whenever it went down to 10 men, I was thinking, do you know what, Southampton really have the ability to turn United over here.
Definitely.
And they did have the better chances, yes, fair enough, but it's not a testament to a team, and it shows why Southampton's down at the bottom whenever they're playing against 10 men, and they're not looking much stronger when they have an extra man.
They did the same against Wolves a couple of weeks ago as well. Wolves went down to 10 men, and then Wolves looked like the better side. And it is strange. It's strange, the sort of mentality or whatever it is that they have. But look, I'm in agreement with you, Connor. To me personally, look, of course it comes across as bias because we're Man United fans, but I like the reaction of the players afterwards showed to me just how much it shouldn't have been a red card, because both men got up and your boy Alcaraz hugged him straight away and was like, you went for the ball. First of all, first and foremost, the thing I look at is, does the player win the ball? Casemiro won the ball. Won the ball, that's the first thing. It's not his fault that his foot comes off the top of the ball and then connects with your fella's shin.
He's so unlucky.
To me, look, fair enough. You want to give the free kick? Yeah. You want to give a yellow card? Fair enough. I don't think it should have been taken any further than that there, to be honest.
It shouldn't have. Like, the referee seen it. He had a good view of it first time. And I don't understand why they felt it was necessary for him to go and have a look at it when he made the on-field decision.
Yes.
And realistically, when everything is slowed down, it looks a hell of a lot worse. And I think that's the only reason it was upgraded to a red card.
Yeah.
He was literally about 5 yards away from the challenge. He seen it clear as day, and he felt on field that was a yellow card decision.
Do you know what they called it? Violent conduct.
Yeah, it's disgraceful.
Where's the violence in that?
No.
There was no intent to hurt the player. No. There was no, like, it's as Connor says, Casemiro's leg is half bent. It's not as if he's stretched right out, like it's a last ditch lunging tackle. Exactly. He makes perfect contact with the ball. That's just what annoys me. We're seeing this week in, week out. Arsenal are being denied Stonewall penalties week in, week out. Yeah. And look, I'm not an Arsenal fan, but I can see it as clear as day. They're being denied Stonewall penalties left, right and centre. It seems as though against certain teams, they don't seem to get the call. And funny, when I was writing the article, I looked at a VAR table. So people might be sitting here going, yeah, you're a United fan, you get every VAR decision, this, that and the other. Actually, United are 10th in the VAR table for the amount of points that they've gained because of VAR. So there is an agenda there. Do you know who the team is that's at the top?
Liverpool.
Man City.
Yeah.
They've got so many penalties.
Man City get the most points through the use of VAR. Liverpool are third.
On the other, coming from the non-biased perspective, I do feel Casemiro is like unlucky, but I do still feel that it was a red card. Like, there's no, as you said, there was no intent to do player. It wasn't violent conduct, but he does at the end of the day still catch him studs on the shin. I know he bounces over the ball. I do feel I can understand where you're coming from, the frustration, because everybody's frustrated. It's clearly inconsistency, and the fact that he was the referee the day before and didn't give a red card, and then now sitting in the VAR booth, he tells the official to upgrade it to a red card. It doesn't make any sense. I feel is the clear and obvious error. That's where the inconsistencies come from me. If Casemiro was handed a straight red card, I don't feel there'd be as much debate about it. But was there enough in it to upgrade it to a red card? That's the 50-50 for me. As you said, there was no intent to do him. It wasn't violent conduct. He wasn't necessarily out of control. That's, I know you say like his foot bounces off the ball and up. That maybe is where they're saying that he was out of control, that he couldn't control that action of his leg. I'm just trying to see maybe why they thought to upgrade it. In real time, to me, I think it should have been a straight red, but I don't think there was enough to upgrade it.
You think it was a straight red?
He does still catch him high on the shin with his studs.
Mate.
It's just a consistency though, like, and then to slow it down, that just annoys me because everything looks worse in slow motion. Like he had to come over and see that in slow motion. I just don't understand.
But I feel like there's an issue with Casemiro. I really, really do, because in the same game week, this has happened twice now to Casemiro. So in the same game week where he apparently choked Will Hughes, and then when you see it from the opposite angle and he's holding his jersey, he's not even holding your boy's neck.
Yeah.
In that same brawl, Jordan Ayew's punching Fred in the face, and there's nothing done about that. That same weekend, Everton play Liverpool, and Cody grips Robertson by the throat and by the face, and there's no card for that. So you're looking at it going, well, why is he getting a red card? And now the same thing this weekend. You know, the Leicester player, I think it was Pereira. You know, Pereira can put in a similar sort of challenge on the Chelsea man. Studs high up, catches him on the shin. No card there. But when Casemiro does it, it's a red card. I do just feel like there is some sort of personal vendetta against Casemiro, to be honest.
What I think to cause these inconsistencies is another way, like VAR isn't done at the stadium.
Yeah.
It's done in a room in London. Because there's so much happening at the 3 o'clock games, I feel that can lead to inconsistencies. Because they're focusing on different things at different games at different times. Because they're all doing it at the same place at the same time.
But how is it, lad, we can sit here on a podcast, right, and we're no football gurus, we've never done refereeing courses or anything like that in our lives. How come we can sit here and say that decision's right or wrong? Like, we know it as football fans, so why are they getting it wrong? These guys are supposed to be top of their level. These guys are getting paid the big bucks to make these decisions, and yet we're still coming in every week and saying wrong.
Yeah. They don't use any common sense either.
No, they don't.
You know, they didn't really, like, Casemiro was so unlucky there. Like, it's just consistency though. It is just dreadful.
The bigger disgrace of the whole thing is the fact he's now banned for 4 games. I think that's a disgrace.
Brutal.
That, fair enough, I can understand the 3-game ban he got for the Will Hughes thing. No matter how soft it was, the latter law he was done for the violent conduct of choking another player. That should warrant a 3-game ban. We can get into it again whether it was warranted or not, but because that was the punishment for the crime he committed. The fact that this is down as violent conduct, you shouldn't be getting a 4-game ban or minimum 3-game ban, whatever it is, for mistiming a tackle when there's no intention to hurt somebody. I think that's a disgrace. Look, I know as United fans, you are rightfully pissed off about it, and the inconsistencies are an absolute joke, and there isn't really any excuse. Like, it's not like this is a new technology. Like, how long's VAR been in the Premier League now?
3 years.
3 years. Like, it's not. It's other sports can do it well.
Yeah.
Like, when have you ever seen the controversy on something like this over a rugby game?
No.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like in the Six Nations, it's not week in, week out.
No, exactly. exactly.
calls the arms over a bad TMO decision.
So
It
people
doesn't-
running it, like it's just
It is
they're making
people
the
running
decisions.
it,
You know,
just
it's not
are
that
making
so
an
far.
absolute mess of
Yeah.
it. And the only way you're ever going to get consistency is if the same boy does VAR every game, which is never
Well,
going to happen.
it's not going to happen. Exactly. And look, I know it seems like I'm constantly bringing up Man United decisions here. It's just because they're the only ones that stick fresh in my mind. It's not as if this is just happening to Man United. It's happening to every club in the Premier League. And, you know, one week you get a decision and then the next you don't. And it's just like, again, you know, we're looking at VAR decisions. If you just take the Man United and Southampton game, United should have had 2 penalties.
Yeah.
But
Realistically.
the handball was definitely a penalty.
See that first 45 minutes of refereeing from Anthony Taylor. That's the most shocking refereeing against. I can only speak for being against United, but that's the worst refereeing I've seen this season. For that 45 minutes was terrible.
It's not the first time Anthony Taylor's been called out. There's a lot of players and a lot of teams
Yeah.
very unhappy with Anthony
It's not the
Taylor.
first time he's been called out against United either. I seen something earlier and it was like
I see.
in his games where he's refereed against United and where he's refereed against City, he had given like 82 yellow cards to United players and he's gave 30 or something to City players in the same amount of games.
But United had already complained about him too because he against Villa he put the wall back 15 yards instead of 10
Verdinha
for the goal.
Verdinha's
Which-
free kick.
Probably wouldn't have went in if they were closer.
Like, I thought when Howard Webb come back, we were going to be getting penalties galore and all. But
The good old days. But
still having it, man. I thought the minute the United player was touching the box, I was like, fucking happy days. Here we go.
Happy days. Alex Ferguson's payroll. Let's go. And the Dons were behind Ten Hag in the first game of the season. I was thinking, oh, do you know what? It's
Here we
on.
go, here we
It's
go.
on.
You know. Well, look, I'm going to move it on, lads, to Tottenham Hotspur 3-1 winners at home to Nottingham Forest. Put together a very impressive performance, I have to say. So this week, Spurs fans, we will be praising your football club, and no doubt next week we will be very negative about your club. So let's go to the positives then for this week. I'll start off with this one, lads. I was actually very, very impressed with Spurs. Very impressed with one player in particular, Harry Kane, of course, popping up 2 goals. Typical Harry Kane, really. Typical Harry Kane centre forward performance. He is now alongside, let me get this right, Sergio Aguero, Alan Shearer and somebody else for scoring 20 plus goals in the Premier League consistently for more than 7 seasons, I believe.
Was it?
Maybe it was Rooney.
Yeah,
There was someone else in that conversation
wouldn't
as
be
well.
Henry, he wasn't
Drogba
there
or
long
something,
enough.
maybe?
No, it wasn't Drogba. Drogba was actually quite an inconsistent goal scorer.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, he only got a whole round.
I can't remember who it was. It was somebody anyway. 7 seasons now. He scored 20 plus goals in the Premier League. We're looking at a guy who, in my opinion, will break the Premier League scoring record. Whether he's at Spurs come the end of the season, I'm just not sure. But I think whoever he ends up at will still get the same Harry Kane that we're seeing right now. Thought his goals were excellent. Penalty, definitely a penalty, in my opinion. Tucked away beautifully. And I just thought Spurs were very impressive. You know, Forest have definitely picked up the pace. Probably since, you know, like December time from we've come back from the World Cup. Forest have looked decent, but Spurs absolutely picked them apart.
Yeah, it was good to see.
Really, really picked them apart and just went about their business in the way that you would expect them to.
Credit to them, especially after getting put out of the Champions League.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
the
Made
FA
a real
Cup.
result.
And the FA Cup, yeah, you know, look, it was a difficult week for Conte to navigate, and still we have this cloud hanging over Spurs at the minute as to whether he's going to remain there at the end of the season or not. You know, the big news obviously broke after the Champions League game that there was a strong possibility that he wouldn't be there come June. To me, that looks like the likely outcome of this scenario. I can't see Conte staying past this summer, tell you the truth.
Yeah, he'll be gone.
But just in terms of the game, very impressed with Spurs and did what they needed to do.
Richarlison was very good too. I thought, you know, he won a penalty, got an assist, got a goal ruled offside. It was tight.
Again, especially after a week where he was very vocal.
Yeah, he came out
Exactly.
Wednesday and kind of
Slated the management.
Pedro Porro was good too.
Yeah,
Pedro
Porro was
Porro
good.
was
Great
good.
ball into the backs for
Yeah.
Then,
second goal.
Second goal, I think, yes.
Yeah.
Hoiberg's back as well.
And Son back amongst the goals.
Yeah.
So maybe this is.
It's hard to know with Spurs, though, isn't it?
I don't want to say
You can't say it, like, can you?
Because I was going to say, I say every single week, maybe this is when insert top 4 fighting team name here turns the corner.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say it, but maybe it is for once. Force weren't great, to be honest with you. Like I said, I know that it finished 3-1, 3-0 game was kind of over.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
as I say, kind of talk about Fulham against Arsenal going for it the last 20 minutes and
Yes.
Bournemouth against City and stuff. It's easy to do when you know you're not going to win the game
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose, so you might as well throw the kitchen sink at it, type thing. Look at Forest, have been great since December. Their away form isn't the best though, which
No.
is the concern.
Only one win.
But their home form is more than making up for that. As we talk about relegation battles, you need to be winning your home games and getting points to your home games,
Yeah.
which is what Force is doing. And I feel like I've said this a million times in these podcasts. These teams aren't targeting the big six for points. Like, their season's not defined by going to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium or whatever it is. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that result from a Force perspective.
No, you definitely wouldn't. You definitely wouldn't. Look, I mean, it's like you said, like teams like Forest, it's not as if their away form's going to dictate whether they stay in the Premier League or not. It's as long as they keep picking up those points at home that will ultimately determine their status in the Premier League. Just going to keep moving it on quickly here, lads. So going to go to Man City, 1-0 victors away at Crystal Palace. It took an Erling Haaland penalty to break the dock in that game.
Yeah.
Obviously, look, the thing I want to talk about the most is, you know, a few weeks ago we probably would have said Palace were in an okay position, and now they've sort of dragged themselves right down into that relegation battle, and it's maybe getting a wee bit sticky for them because they don't look like they're going to put any sort of results together here at the minute.
Well, they've set a new Premier League record that nobody wants to hold. That's 3 games in a row they haven't had a shot on target.
They're so boring. Like
I watched maybe the last 25 minutes of that game because I seen it was 0-0 and I was like, oh, look at all and see if City's going to drop points here. And even when City did score the goal and retreated defensively, Palace were hopeless.
Yeah.
Absolutely hopeless. They wouldn't press when City were passing the ball about the back with 5 minutes to go when they're 1-0 up, and Palace players wouldn't try and win the ball back. It was desperate to watch, and like once again, like it was clear penalty. No doubt about it. It was a penalty. Elise was a bit stupid. He was kind of unlucky. He got sucked in by Gundogan. Gundogan just showed him the ball just enough to make him go for it, and then he flicked it round him. Clear as day penalty. Dispatched by Erling Haaland, as you'd expect. It's Erling Haaland, like. But Palace are just so poor to watch, and
They haven't an away win in 2023.
No.
In 2023,
and as you said, like we talk about Palace. We like in our mid-season review, we talk about Palace are just such an average team. They're going to finish anywhere between 15th and 10th. They'd kill for that at the minute because they are in deep trouble and they are in a bad slide. And like if we talk about teams not scoring goals, the fact that they haven't had one shot on target in 3 games, like that's
crazy.
Like, surely you have one by accident. You hit a long ball too much, you can constitute it as a shot on target. Like how? Like, I don't understand how a professional football team in the biggest league in the world cannot muster one shot at a goalkeeper in 3 bloody games. It doesn't make any sense.
But like they never look like scoring either. Like even they'll get the shot on target. Like even take a shot or whatever you said. But like there was no creativity in that team.
No.
Nothing, and they're playing terrible football.
No, they're not great, to be honest, and I would say that, like we're talking about managers being under fire or in trouble or whatever it is, whatever way you want to state it. But I think, you know, realistically, Vieira needs to be criticised big time here. Like this, I think this is a manager that's underperforming with the players that he has at the minute. Tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any two ways about that. Going to move it on then. Newcastle 2-1. Winners against Wolves. Wolves obviously a side that we have been very impressed with over the past couple of weeks. Newcastle we haven't been as impressed with over these past few weeks, but managed to grind it out and see the game out and get a massive 3 points for themselves really. They're hoping that this result's going to maybe, you know, kick them on and hopefully, you know, kick their season on, try and get them secured in those European spots. Personally, I think a player that I was very impressed with was Kieran Trippier again. I know, look, he was a bit shaky for the Wolves goal.
He made a balls up for the goal.
He did, but in saying that, what he offers Newcastle going forward, I think, is unparalleled to any other sort of fullback in the league this year. I think he just offers so much, pushing that ball forward and being a player that Newcastle can look at as an out ball, and you just know if you're under pressure you can give it to Trippier and Trippier will do something with it, whether it be a cross, whether it be a progressive run, a decent pass into a good area for a striker to attack. I think the biggest incident from this game is, though, I think Nick Pope should have seen red.
Oh, 100%.
Definitely penalty.
And it should have been a penalty, big time. You know, again, we're just talking about these inconsistencies with VAR. Why was that incident not not overturned. There's enough in that to overturn that incident. So that's all I have to say on the game, really.
Yeah, it's just pure inconsistencies, and that's what annoys people. We've got into it so many times, and we'll continue to get into so many times. It's just not improving in the slightest. Massive result for Newcastle. Great to see them having Isaac back amongst the goals.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
why they spent the big money for him. As you mentioned, Trippier, great ball in the box, great header. Exactly why he was valued at so much.
Yeah.
And he always has potential. He just needs to stay off that injury table. And
Well, when he plays, he scores. Like,
That's the thing.
This is the thing about him. You know, he's only not scored in like 4 games this
it's
year.
just so frustrating that he comes in, he'll have a great game, he'll play 15 minutes the next one, and he's way off injured.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of trying to keep him fit, and that's the concerning thing for Newcastle. And obviously, Almiron back amongst the goals, big for them. Wolves kind of missed Sarabia a wee bit. He wasn't playing.
Yeah, big time.
Which is really annoying because he started my fantasy team. I thought I was really hopeful. I thought he was going to be the man, the key that nobody else had, and then just didn't play. Happy days. But Wolves, as you said, we've waxed lyrical about them, have creeped back in that relegation fight.
Yeah.
And there's 7 teams now separated by like 6 points, like 4 points or something. So God knows who's going to get down. I'm not even making predictions about that anymore. Like,
Oh, it's strange. Strange season. Is that everybody? No, it is not. So Everton 1-0 victors over Brentford. I called it last week. I said
Yeah,
that
indeed.
Everton will be the side on Brentford's unbeaten streak. It was a weird game. You know,
Yeah.
Brentford had chances. Everton did look better.
Huge win for Everton.
It's massive to be able, like, especially with the form that Brentford were in, and to be able to end a streak like that. It's like the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak, like, you know, to be able to go in there and just take that streak down.
Who'd have thought Everton was fucking Brock Lesnar?
No, look, Everton were very impressive. I think, look, the guy I've been most impressed with is Dwight McNeil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
since
Dwight
Precious came
McNeil
back.
is performing at a level that we just haven't seen from him. It's almost as if, you know, seeing his old boss has given him a kick up the ass, and he's
Back to his Burnley days.
back to his best. You know, I've been really, really impressed with him these last few weeks.
Definitely.
yeah, and it was a great finish for the goal.
Yeah.
And then at the back, they're doing better as well.
Exactly.
3 clean sheets in 7. And then before that, I think under Lampard, they had 3 in like 20 or something. So they're doing a lot better at the back. And their home form is crazy good. Like, I think that's 3rd win at home.
At home, under
All, I
Daesh.
think they're all like 1-0s. But sure, that's
But
all
look,
that's needed.
if it's getting you 3 points, I wouldn't give
And
a
they're,
shit.
they're unlucky as well because they could have had a second goal, which was
Really
VAR
like
again.
VAR
Very
again, yeah.
harsh again, I thought. But they unlucky her 1-0, big result. Brentford probably didn't play that great, but why would they care? 12 unbeaten they were going in there. And as you said, Vice fair play, you predicted it because I didn't think they were going to win that.
The one thing I would say really is the Goodison crowd is absolutely like electric at times.
Yeah.
You know,
Since Deitch has come in, like, he's really made Goodison a fortress.
like I would say, you know, the way people always talk about the Cop, and they always talk about, you know, those famous European nights at Anfield, and obviously the 2 clubs are from Liverpool. Like, yeah, Liverpool they have massive following, and they do have some special atmospheres, but like I just see Goodison, like you hear it through the TV.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, you're sitting there watching the match, and like if you had some sort of like surround sound system or something, I genuinely feel like you would be a part of it.
You feel like the crowd's on top of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's what Mincy said to me in the Everton episode of Team Talk. He said, like, when you are there and you're watching Everton, he said, like, you're on top of it. How close you are to the pitch, you feel like you're over the top of the players, and I'd say that sort of atmosphere is special. Like, I'd say as a player, you must be sitting there going, this is something different. How could you not get carried through games? How could you not get psyched up when you're at home to go and smash into every tackle and try your best to put the ball in the back of the net? Because it does just seem like a ridiculously good atmosphere.
And they're losing that now at the new stadium as well.
No, well, I don't think they will. Mincy sort of talked to me about how the stadium's being built, and it's a similar sort of thing where the stands are incredibly close to the
It's
pitch.
harder the fans is in that stadium.
Exactly.
Like, since Deitch has come in, they've had 4 in the league. They've had 4 games at Goodison. They've won 3 of them 1-0.
Yeah.
So like that just shows, like, when that. Obviously, there's a lot of animosity amongst the Everton supporters not that long ago.
No.
Some still exist there against the board and stuff, and against Lampard. And it shows when that support does get behind that team, it's like a 12th man on that pitch.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
Yeah.
and it just shows how massive it is, because since Deitch's come in, the fans have been behind him since the first minute. And
It's so
really
important
shown.
for his team. It's so
Yeah.
important for Sean Dyche to get players like Dwight McNeil and Demarai Gray taken again, because we've said it so many times in the past few weeks, they don't have that out-and-out goal scorer whenever
No.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin's
No.
injured. Like, they just don't have it. So he needs his players and his wingers to be scoring goals and getting them through
Exactly.
games.
Yeah.
And look, they paid 15 million for Dwight McNeil at the start of the year. It shows why. Do you know what I mean? He's showing these glimpses now why they paid for such a good player.
We've said it, like, we always thought he was a talented footballer. The problem is, like we said so many times, like, football's stat padding now. If you don't have the stats, you're deemed as not a great player. It's just not the truth, like.
It's true.
McNeil has always been a decent footballer. He was always the creative outlet at Burnley. He always looked like he was going to be the one player that could kick that side on and pull him through games, and he's doing it at Everton now at the minute. The only difference now is he's starting to get the output to back it up. So long may it continue for Everton, and I'd say Mincy is absolutely buzzing.
I would say it is too. And look, it's no harsh result really for Brentford. They were 12 games unbeaten. They've solidified their spot this season, and they are still pushing for European places.
Yeah.
So look, one loss isn't going to do them too much damage. They've two big games coming up in this game week.
Yeah.
They've Southampton, and then they're at home to...
Is it Leicester, I think they're home to?
It's Leicester. 2 games that are winnable.
2 wins. Yeah.
2 winnable games. So they just need to pick themselves back up and get ready for a busy week of Premier League
Absolutely.
action.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Well, look, on to the last game of the game week then, lads. West Ham and Villa playing out a 1-1 draw. I think the main player to talk about here is Ollie Watkins. I mean, the man just can't seem to stop scoring at the minute. Look, we've always said it, always a dangerous player, always a very clinical goal scorer. But these last few weeks, he's really just kicked it into overdrive. He's hanging with the best of them at the minute, and his FPL price is reflectant of that at the minute there. He is just 0.2 million lower in price than Ivan Toney at the minute. Like,
Top player.
You know,
top player.
When you get a player like Watkins in this type of form, he's good to watch. Like, he's good to watch. Makes a lot of really, really decent runs. And the thing I like about Watkins, as opposed to maybe some other strikers in the Premier League, is he's really excellent at keeping the ball and the build-up play side of the game. And I think, you know, when we were talking about the England squad that was heading to the World Cup, I was very adamant that I thought Wilson deservedly should have been there at that moment in time. He was scoring goals. But I would say the one thing, the main difference between Watkins and Wilson is, I just think Watkins, in terms of that ability to bring other players into play, is just on a bit of a different level than the likes of Wilson, for example. But him and Buendia are really starting to look like there's something special could be coming along.
Imagine Brentford still had him. Imagine him and Tony
up front together. That'd be outrageous.
Watkins is a bit like that, as you said as well. Like, it's stats, but all round he's a good player. But now he's scoring the goals. 7 goals since the World Cup.
Yeah.
So he's been brilliant. And like West Ham on the opposite, like you were saying about the atmosphere at Goodison Park, their atmosphere is brutal.
There's so many white seats.
Yeah.
Look, I'd say Moisey will be lucky to see out the season.
They got booed off at the end as well.
Yeah.
West Ham had chances. Ben Rama should have had a hat-trick in this game.
Yeah.
There's so many times he had great chances. There's one, I think it was Ashley Young made a really great block on him.
Yeah.
Martinez made a great save. He scored a penalty. Like, it wasn't like West Ham were completely blitzed in this game and like got lucky of a penalty to finish 1-1.
Yeah.
West Ham had their own chances. Like, Villa had chances as well. Watkins could have had a second. Fabianski did well to save it. But it was a weird kind of game because like both teams had chances, but both teams didn't play great, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
No.
Like, if you watch the highlights, you're thinking, it wasn't too bad, but then you kind of look into the game a wee bit more, and you're like, it wasn't a great game. It was a boring game where, like, it's alright to make a highlight package for 2.5 minutes and make a game look good, but for 90 minutes, it really wasn't a great game of football.
Well, look, West Ham, the one thing you would say about them this season is underperformance.
Oh yeah.
And just a number of underperformers within this side. You know, like you've talked about Ben Rama there. Ben Rama's, in my opinion, and look, it might be a wee bit controversial, I don't know, I feel like Ben Rama's underperformed since he's been at West Ham. I expected Ben Rama to come into the Premier League and really be, look, I'm not saying one of the top players, but expected him to be at a level where he was performing week in, week out. Almost the way Bowen was last season. I expect that of Ben Rama as well.
Well, to be fair, like, do you remember the whole transfer saga with Ben Rama when he was leaving Brentford? Like, I know they ended up getting 30 million for him, but he was meant to go in the summer to Chelsea or something.
Spurs.
Spurs, was it? Well, he was linked with the big clubs anyway. Fell through. Ended up going to West Ham the following January after falling out with the Brentford owners.
Yeah.
So he was going in the wrong circumstances and going into a team that at the time was performing well, but most importantly, they had a player in Jared Bowen who was performing well in his position, so he wasn't even starting. Didn't start like his first 11 games or something. Came in and scored or whatever, but I don't know. I think Benrahma was destined to fail when he went to West Ham.
Yeah, look, I don't think that's controversial to say at all.
Yeah.
I really do feel like... See, I think the thing with Benrahma is people can't work out what his best position is. Is he a 10? Is he a winger? To me, personally, I like him off the left. I thought that's... At Brentford in the Championship, that's where he played his best football. It was always off the left, cutting inside and being able to just whip the ball into the top corner. That's what he was really, really good at. Paqueta underperformed. People keep telling me Declan Rice is a £100 million player. In my shite, is he a £100 million player? You'd be lucky to get fucking 40 million for him. You look at some of the defenders this season that just haven't performed. I like the guy, is it Aguard?
Yeah.
I think he is a good player, but he's just not doing it for West Ham. He was excellent at the World Cup, but he's just not done it for West Ham. Like the likes of Soufal, I always thought Soufal was a decent player, but he's getting older now and probably need to replace him. Souček's underperformed for 2 years. Antonio's underperformed this season. Bowen's underperformed this season. The list goes on and on. Scamacca. He's not even going to get a look in now.
He didn't even get on.
No.
Didn't even bring him on last 20.
Moyes has said he is really, really not impressed with his physical stats this season.
He took Paqueta off and he just walked straight down the touchline.
Look, it's not good at West Ham at the minute, to be honest. They need some sort of cultural reset, I would say.
Definitely.
And maybe a few boys need to just nip themselves out the door there. Well, look, going to move it on to our picks of the week. Our lovely fan favourite section that everybody looks forward to every week. Connor, going to come to you with the first one. Who is this week's player of the week?
I'm going to go, even though Harry Kane scored 2 goals, I'm going to go Trossard. He's just been fantastic since he's come to the club. 3 assists. His work rate, he's come into that false 9 position where he probably didn't expect to be playing, but he's been fantastic. And he's my player of the week.
Yeah, look, it's hard to argue with a guy that gets 3 assists in 45 minutes.
Even for Brighton earlier in the year, scoring a lot of goals. Like he's the third since he's came to Arsenal. He has 5 assists in 9 games. Yeah. He's the third most assists in the league. Like he has been very, very good since he's came to Arsenal. Even before that at Brighton, he was superb as well. He scored 7 or 8 goals. Yeah. So yeah. And
the thing is, this guy's he's 27.
Yeah.
He's in his prime.
He's in his prime now.
Definitely.
This whole okay, like you didn't pay the 100 million, you didn't get the flashy player in Mudryk, but like why would you not? Why is getting a Premier League proven guy such a bad thing?
I know.
Yep.
It makes you sit there and wonder.
It was a steal.
Why are people criticising this transfer?
I know.
This guy's 27 and he's one of the most consistent output players in the Premier League. I don't know. For me personally, I always thought Trossard was the better signing than Mudryk, to be honest, and I couldn't understand the criticism. Owen, cream of the cream, boob of the week. Who are you going for this week?
Yeah, I'm actually not going for a player for once or a team. I'm actually going for the BBC for making a balls and match of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if I was going to give it a player, I kind of mentioned earlier, if Donny Ward was up for it, Jack Harrison was up for it, then he scored a screamer, so he kind of unnominated
himself there, yeah.
And then Kieran Trippier did make a balls for the goal, but also did a great performance. So I don't like giving it to the player for making one mistake and having a great game. So the BBC for ruining match of the day and my tactical insight for the week.
Yeah,
I think that's fair enough, to be honest.
You see, when you said BBC, I didn't think of the British broadcasting. That's what I kind of laughed. I thought you were talking about a player.
Moving swiftly on.
No. I actually, I like that pick of the BBC, to be honest. No, look, in all seriousness, Owen, I agree with you. Like, I know this is going to sound a wee bit silly, but like, match of the day is a big part of all of our childhoods, I would assume, and
it's a big part of our lives now too.
Look, as Gary Lineker said, he has been the presenter of Match of the Day for the guts of nearly 3 decades. Yeah. And to look, I'll spoil it. Look, bottom bins extra that this is going to be the topic that we look at this week is, should people with a platform in football speak their political opinions? It's something that we here think as journalists we could talk about a good deal and give a good input into. But I agree with you, and I think an absolute disgrace
They got
from the BBC this week, to
Completely
be
wrong.
honest.
Yeah.
So why, you're not allowed to criticise the government now? Is this what we're saying? Do we live in some sort of dictatorship, do we? Where you're not allowed to speak out against a government? No. Look, I completely agree with you on. Made a complete balls up of it, and like we said, a 20-minute highlight package from Match of the Day this week.
With no commentary or nothing, just shows how badly wrong they got it. The amount of people that walked out of them this weekend.
I like that though. I like how people stood up and went, "Do you know what, I'm going to stand with Gary Lineker." And
Yeah, that's good.
I'd say it's that pressure that probably...
Well, look, we'll talk about it in the bottom bits.
Yeah.
There's no point giving it any more attention now when we're going to do a full segment on
Yeah,
it.
no, fair enough. And if you are going to listen to that episode, we're also going to look at Barcelona's corruption charge as well. That's been prevalent news in football this week, and that's moving along swiftly. As for my FPL player of the week then, I took Phil Foden last week. Unfortunately, he did not deliver the goods. So I am back in the horrors, and I need to try and get a safety pick this week to give myself some credibility and accountability again. So I am going to pick the guy who is in tremendous form at the minute. We've literally just talked about him. I'm going to go for Ollie Watkins.
Yeah.
I believe that good old Ollie is going to win me some points there at home to Bournemouth on Saturday. So do me a favour, Ollie. Put the ball in the back of the net, please, and thank you.
Much appreciated.
Oren, what is your opinion this week?
Yeah, I'm as the weeks go on, I'm really finding it difficult to get a new opinion every week. Do you know what I mean? But this week, I'm gonna go against what I've said all season, really, and I'm gonna say that Man United need to sell David De Gea. I think it's time. I wouldn't be against them extending his contract and ban a number one keeper to come in to compete against him, but I don't think he should be United's long-term keeper anymore. Look, arguably the best in the world in terms of shot stopping, but as an overall goalkeeper these days, he's not up there anymore. His distribution is abysmal, absolutely abysmal, and it puts the team at risk a lot, especially for a team under Ten Hag who are playing it out from the back. So yeah, unfortunately, and I do hate to say it because De Gea has been such an unbelievable servant for United. In my opinion, United's greatest ever goalkeeper.
Definitely in there with a shout.
Definitely.
And I do feel I am being harsh with it, but you need to be ruthless in the Premier League, especially when you're looking to win Premier League titles.
Especially with Ten Hag's style of play
Exactly.
as well.
You
Like
need-
even you seen it get Real Betis, like they nearly scored a second goal because
Exactly.
of his mistake. I don't know where he was looking. He
Exactly.
just
He just can't pass.
Puts the players under pressure.
Yeah,
Even the players
absolutely.
around him. You know, even that
Absolutely.
Arsenal game as well. He was part of that game too. He cost us the game.
Just
So,
overall, he's
Yeah.
not been good enough as a goalkeeper in the past few weeks, especially. But like we've talked about his distribution for years. Obviously, there's nobody better at shot stopping in the world, but you need a number one goalkeeper who's world class in every single department, and just unfortunately De Gea's a bit past it at the minute. So
Look.
my opinion this week is that he should be sold.
10 years since United won the league title. And in that 10 years, David De Gea has been our goalkeeper. It's been a long time. He's been at the club a long time. He's been a really, really good servant. And you would say for a period of probably 3 to 4 seasons of that period, there was no argument. He was the best goalkeeper in world football. Saved United a lot of points, and you know there was a reason he was always linked with Real Madrid. It's not because David De Gea is a bad goalkeeper. It's unfortunate now it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for De Gea now that we have a manager that wants to play a certain way. But it's funny. I actually read an article on The Athletic the other day, and they did a full breakdown of De Gea compared to United's other transfer targets. The 2 targets they looked at in particular were David Raya of Brentford and Diogo Costa of Porto. And believe it or not, De Gea is performing worse in all the metrics where you would think De Gea should perform better. Technically, this season, De Gea is a worse shot stopper than both Raya and Costa. His post goal expected XG is worse than both of those goalkeepers. So do you know what? I understand what you're saying. Shot stopping wise, he probably is still one of the best in the world. I don't think he is the best in the world at shot stopping. Not anymore. To me personally, I'm looking at the likes of Courtois and stuff for that kind of thing at the minute. I don't think De Gea's quite at that level anymore. Like Raya's outperforming him this season, Costa's outperforming him this season, and the thing that the 2 goalkeepers like that give you as well is that ability to play out. They're very comfortable with the ball at their feet. I don't just think that's a De Gea problem though, to be completely honest. United are still missing a tempo controlling midfielder. And I think that's hurting them a lot at the minute as well. I think Eriksson is excellent, but he's not a tempo controller. I think Sabitzer's excellent, but he's not a tempo controller. And neither are McTominay and Fred. They've never been those kind of midfielders. United are still missing a Frankie de Jong. Somebody who is comfortable at playing out and beating a press. We don't have that at the minute. That's killing us too. There are still positions in Manchester United's side where you can see Ten Hag needs to make adjustments here and make adjustments there. I still think, yes, I think Weghorst has been good at what he's needed to do, but they still need a striker that suits the system. I still don't think Weghorst is that option. You still need a striker that can score goals as well as play with the ball at his feet, and we just don't have that at the minute. So there's still weaknesses in United's team. But I would agree with you, Oren. I think it's time maybe that we say goodbye to David De Gea, as hard as that's going to be and as sad as that day is going to be, because he is a club legend, and he's given me so much joy when times haven't been great. I love him to bits. I really, really do. I'll always love De Gea. But I think it's time, and for our own progression and our own playing style, that we need to say goodbye to David De Gea, unfortunately.
Hope you're enjoying the pod, David, mate. Hope you're enjoying the
Just know that you are genuinely one of my favourite players of all time.
We love him, like,
and I hate having to have this conversation, to be honest, but
Same, yeah.
it's the harsh reality of it. All right, moving on. Guess the player, Oren. I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, guess the player's back this week. I'm not gonna lie, boys. Yeah, it's gonna be difficult enough.
No.
I got one of the easy ones.
So you're on 1, Owen. Dorman, you're on 6, and Richie's on 9. So it's 9, 6, and 1. Okay. Number 1. I started my career at Manchester United. However, I made my first senior appearance for Preston North End before joining Borussia Mönchengladbach on loan a year later. Number 2. I have never won a trophy in my senior career. Number 3. I have played in the Europa League this season for a Turkish club. Number 4. I am a striker and have scored 83 goals and have 47 assists in 384 appearances. And the final clue. 53 of my goals have come in the Premier League across 3 different clubs, and I am the all-time top Premier League scorer for one of these clubs. Who am I?
Wow. Jesus, that's tough.
So I'm going to run through them very quickly.
Sorry, just did you say, Oren, he's currently playing for a club in Turkey?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Sorry.
Started my career at Manchester United. However, I made my first senior appearance for Preston North End before joining Borussia Mönchengladbach on loan a year later. I've never won a trophy in my senior career. I've played in the Europa League this season for a Turkish club. I'm a striker and have scored 83 goals and I have 47 assists in 384 appearances. 53 of my goals have come in the Premier League across 3 different clubs, and I am the all-time top Premier League goal scorer for one of these clubs. Who am I?
What?
Dembaba?
No.
Didn't play for United.
That's who I was
I
thinking.
don't know,
As
I
well.
couldn't
He
think
didn't play for
later.
Didn't play for United. United, Preston, Mönchengladbach.
Such a
Preston's
wide
a weird
career.
one.
Oh, that was his first 3 clubs.
Could you give us a clue, maybe, and tell us what year?
Could I give you a clue what?
Like, say what year he was at Mönchengladbach or what year he was at United.
Well, I'll give you one clue.
I don't hear if there's a clue coming, I get another guess, because that's bullshit.
Right, okay.
Oh, whatever.
You're on 1. It's not as if you're good at this anyway. Like,
This could be the difference.
Fucking who put 50p in. He's made 2 appearances for United, 2 senior appearances for United. Neither of them came in the Premier League, but that was in 2011.
2011.
Yeah, and we won the league that year.
Is it? I'm just gonna go Gallo.
No. Made 2 appearances for United in 2011.
Yeah, I don't
You
know.
thought it was
I just
Gallo?
thought like
Is it
I
Mame
just thought,
Biram
like,
Diouf?
No.
I just thought like he's top
guess
scorer
so.
for Watford or something. I don't know. Haven't a
Mama
clue.
Beer, Diouf is a good guess. Owen?
No, never mind.
The answer is Joshua King.
Oh my god.
I didn't even know Josh
no
King
chance.
was
in Turkey.
playing in Turkey.
No, like
Was
Yeah,
he
he's playing for
Bournemouth?
Fenerbahce.
Is he
Is
Bournemouth?
he? Yeah.
Bournemouth's
No,
all-time
no,
Premier
no,
League
no.
goal.
I never got that.
No, I packed him on FIFA last night. It's like, oh Jesus Christ, what since when did Josh King playing for fucking Fenerbahce?
Yeah, Joshua King.
Yeah.
And then he was linked with United whenever Ollie was the
Play
manager.
for
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, number 2.
That was tough. That was
Oh,
tough.
I should have got that.
I thought one of the United boys would have got it, to be fair. Number 2. I have won the Champions League with 2 different clubs. Number 2. I began my career in Spain and quickly was made captain of my first team. Number 3. I left my first club in Spain in 2004 and they replaced me with Mikel Arteta. Number 4. I have played with Fernando Morientes, Alvaro Morata, Rodrigo, Renato Sanchez, Robbie Fowler, and Kingsley Coman. And number 5. I have made senior appearances for 2 countries, winning the Euros twice and the World Cup once with one of them. Who am I?
Two countries.
Yeah.
Wow.
Played for 2 countries.
He's made senior appearances for 2 countries. One of them is not a FIFA recognised country.
Yeah, I
Oh, I see. Yeah.
It's like
So not that prince.
Corinthians, or not Corinthians, Catalonia.
So I'm going to go through this again. I have won the Champions League with 2 different clubs. I began my career in Spain and quickly was made captain of my first team. I left my first club in Spain in 2004 and they replaced me with Mikel Arteta. I have played with Fernando Morientes, Alvaro Morata, Rodrigo, Kingsley Coman, Robbie Fowler and Renato Sanchez. I have made senior appearances for 2 countries, winning the Euros twice and World Cup once with one of them. Who am I? It's worth a punt, boys.
I'm gonna. I know it's wrong. I'm gonna punt PK.
No,
Yeah.
not PK.
Well, if he's replaced by Mikel Arteta,
Yeah, I know, but I thought it was like some sort of fucking
has to
trick
be a
question.
midfielder.
PK did start off as a midfielder, so
Yeah,
it was a
that's
good
what I was
guess.
thinking because he's fucking played for Catalonia and Spain.
Spanish midfielder. Well, Catalonian Spanish midfielder, like.
It's the Basque country.
Yeah.
Oh.
Won the Champions League twice. Different clubs.
Yeah. I didn't say he won it twice. I said he won it with 2 different clubs. But he might have won it more than twice.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye, but he won a Champions League with one club and with another.
10 seconds, boys. Before I ask for a guess. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Richie, you're leading, so you're going to go.
Xabi Alonso.
Oh, he got it.
He pulled it out of the bag! Xabi Alonso!
Do you know what the worst thing was? I knew it the whole time. I just didn't say.
How could I not think of Xabi Alonso?
I don't even know.
What are you going to say, Doran? Not Xabi
I was
Alonso,
gonna
anyway.
go. I was thinking Fabregas or something, but it couldn't be him. He's not won it with 2 different clubs, Champions League. So.
Very good. Xabi Alonso, well in. Won it with Liverpool and Real Madrid.
I didn't realise Basque Country actually had a team.
Yeah.
I knew Catalonia though. I suppose Catalonia had to play something.
Okay, the final one. Number 1, I am a World Cup winner. Number 2, across my 314 senior appearances, I scored 234 goals and had 114 assists.
Good.
Unreal.
That's good numbers.
In my club career, I have played with Fabio Coentrao, Yuri Tielemans, Gianluigi Buffon, Edinson Cavani and Anthony Martial. Number 4. I have won 5 league titles in my career and have been named in the Champions League Team of the Season 4 times.
Oh.
And number 5, I have 66 goal contributions in 61 Champions League appearances. Who am I?
Mbappe.
Well in.
Yeah.
Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah.
How'd you know that one?
He said World Cup and he's 314 appearances and he's so good. I was like, there has to be somebody still playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was like, and he said about Tielemans, so I was like, Monaco.
Monaco,
Had to be
yeah.
Monaco.
Well in. Well in.
I didn't even know Tielemans played for Monaco.
No.
That's who you went to
Yeah.
from Anderlecht.
Oh, see, I thought he was just Anderlecht and then to Leicester.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no,
No,
I, was,
I
I was thinking somebody like a lot older who'd like finished their career at Anderlecht or something.
Well,
Might play with him.
that's why, like, whenever I was looking them up last night and I seen Tielemans went to Monaco and it had completely switched out of my mind that he
Yeah.
thankful.
Definitely.
But yeah, played with Fabio Contrao at Monaco, Tielemans at Monaco, Buffon at PSG, Martial at Monaco, and then Cavani at PSG.
Yeah.
See, when you said Contrary, I couldn't get Real Madrid out of my head.
See, that's I was thinking Real Madrid as well.
See, that's why I put it in, because I forgot he played for Monaco too.
Oh, I didn't even know he played for Monaco.
I thought he went to Sporting
It's
after thing.
See, when you list players, I don't know if it's the same for you, but you always just focus on one player.
Yeah.
That happened.
I try and work out where they've played, and
I put in Cavani and Martial because I thought you were going to think United. But I don't know. Yeah, Mbappe.
Kylian Mbappe.
So the final scores end up Owen being on his lonesome once again with 1. Connor Richards moves up to 10, double figures, first person on double figures, and Dorman moves again up to 7. So interesting.
It's tight, like.
For the weeks ahead. It is.
It's tight.
It is indeed.
Thank God for Sergio Ramos. Being number and shit.
Some of them are tough, but some of them you do sit there and you're thinking, oh, that's difficult.
I'd be reading them and I'm like, who the fuck is this?
that Josh King one, that really threw me off.
I'm fuming I didn't get Josh King.
Russia Mönchengladbach, no?
No.
That's all I can think of when you said Mönchengladbach.
Never even realised he played for Mönchengladbach.
Near day, I had no idea.
No, that was tough. Like.
No idea.
Well, anyway, that'll do it for this episode. Thank you very much for listening. As always, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. That is at BottomBinsPod for all of those 3 platforms. You can find us on the Parlay Sports app on the Apple App Store. That's PRLY Sports. We're going to have some content coming up there in the next few weeks. Just doing wee short videos on United and other wee things in football that we want to talk about. And as always, thank you for all the support. If you need to get in contact with us, you know where to find us. Drop us a message, anything you want. Drop us comments. Give us a follow on Spotify. Subscribe on YouTube. And as always, keep it bottom bins.
Keep it bottom bins.